Really happy to be with you all today. I had the honor to do one of your prior boss webinars, and thank you for having me back. I appreciate it. Today we're going to what I'd like to do is ask you to take a tool that you are very familiar with. For those of you that are TAB franchisees and facilitators, very, very familiar with it. And I also understand there'll be a number of people on this webinar that are current TAB members. So this is a tool you may be familiar with in your business. Certainly if you're working with a TAB facilitator, you more than likely are. And if you're considering TAB, this is a tool you will get to know rather well. And the tool I'm talking about is the behavioral assessment that is more affectionately known as the DISC assessment. And so what I'd like you to do is think about this behavioral science and this tool in a slightly different way. And I want you we're going to put it through a different prism, if you will. So Janet, if we could go to the next slide. Because one of the things that I've learned over the past 75,000 coaching sessions, the last 6,000 business launches that we've mentored, and the tens of thousands of businesses that we've worked with in 35 countries now since 1991 is this. The personality of a business will mirror the personality of its owner. Okay? Rather simple statement, pretty straightforward. Not a lot of shock or surprise to that, I'm sure. You might be thinking, yeah, okay, all right, I'll buy that. Makes sense. I mean, think about it. If you have a super duper organized owner, what kind of business do you think they run? Would you think it's more organized or total disarray? Oh, well, they're organized everywhere else in their life except here. No chance, right? It's going to be organized, of course, because how we do anything is how we do everything, right? How we do anything is how we do everything. So the personality of a business will mirror the personality of its owner. And I'm always reminded of this really quirky story of a client of ours that's in another part of the world. They're in South Africa. And South Africa is a rather casual dress climate, business climate. And there's a chain of supermarkets there that the owner of the chain of supermarkets has a belief that if you wear regular slip-on shoes every day, that you're a casual person, you don't take your job all that seriously, you're not all that career-minded, so therefore he shouldn't spend all that much time and investment on helping you climb the corporate ladder, if it will. You're not serious. He believes that if you have lace-up shoes, tie-up shoes, you're more serious about your career. Right? So you can guess he wears lace-up shoes. Now, if you have any goal of advancing through that company culture, what kind of shoes do you think you should be wearing any given day, especially because this owner has the habit of mystery shopping his own stores? What kind of shoes do you think you should be wearing if you want to stay? Lace-up shoes, of course. Now, I know you guys can't hear me, so if you want to answer or you're dying to say, oh, I know it, I got it, just blink once if you think you have the answer. Blink twice if you're not sure. Blink once if you got it. Okay, so there are a lot of one blinks out there. Secondly, the late Steve Jobs, a genius of our times, right? But one of the unwritten rules about working at Apple is never get caught in an elevator with Steve Jobs, because he would grill you on your position, your projects, what you're working on, to the point that he would find a flaw, and the saying was, if you get caught in an elevator with Steve Jobs, you are out of a job by the time that door opens. How's that for an elevator pitch? Okay? So what we learned is the personality of a business will mirror the personality of its owner. Now, that's really good in some regards, and that can be a challenge in some regards. And Jan, can we go to the next slide, please? So what I'd like you to do is we're going to take a familiar tool that many of you have probably seen or at least heard of, and I'm going to walk you through it. So if you haven't heard of it so far, totally cool. Take some notes. Really easy to follow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight, we're going to overlay the personality of your business on top of your individual, your leadership personality, and let's see where the strengths get magnified and where some of the weaknesses could get magnified to the point that they become they could become a blind spot for you. And that's what today is about. We want to help you understand where those strengths and blind spots are, so you can make the appropriate you can make the appropriate adjustments and take the appropriate steps. Because here's another really good news about this. Our experience tells us, again, 75,000 coaching sessions with entrepreneurs and executives, 35 countries. Here's what we found. You understand your blind spot. You understand how to compensate that, or put process in that place, or put some energy and focus in that area of your business. I don't care who's on the call right now. This goes for all of you. You put energy in that area of your business, our experience tells us there is a 10 to 30% immediate impact in your business that you can take advantage of in the next 12 months with no additional resources. How would that be, to be able to grow 10 to 30% without having to make any capital investment in your business? Wouldn't that be nice? Okay. Now we're going to do a quick exercise at the very end that will actually tell you how much impact there is in your business right now. We're going to do a little range of management exercise in just a moment. Okay. So if we can go to the next slide, Jan. Look at that, impeccable. Your timing is right on. All right. So if you look at how each of us is built as people, and we're going to correlate how you're built to how your business is built. Because guess what? They're done basically the same way. There are 4 basic dimensions that make up each one of us as an individual. There are 4 building blocks to the universe, right? And the reason I point that out is virtually every assessment out there finds its roots in these 4 dimensions. So you are a blend of all 4. There's just one you are more wired towards. So if I met you 20 years ago, and then I saw you today, and I see you 20 years from now, you're going to be pretty much one of these 4 styles will be your preferred style. There's one that you're more kind of wired to, and then there's one you adapt and you move to when you need to. So one's called the natural and one is called the adapted. But we're going to focus on the natural for today. By the way, as we go through this, if you have any questions at all, feel free to type them into your chat box. Jan or I will get them, and we're going to leave some time for Q&A at the end of this. Okay? So which style are you most like most of the time? All right, well, here's the first one. The upper right-hand corner that is red, we're going to go around like a clock, dominant. This is a type A personality type. You're decisive, you're demanding, you're driven, you're dynamic. You can be difficult at times. Right? You're a doer. You get things done. You don't take no for an answer. You will find a way or you will make a way. Right? You're that type A personality. Do you know anyone like that? If we can go to the next slide, please. Next one is influencer. This is the people part of you, the relationship builder. You're optimistic and you're energetic and you're outgoing and you're emotional. You're animated. And in 500 years of behavioral study, there has only been one value that they could ever attach to a behavioral style, and that is the value of trust. This is the promoter and persuader within you. Trust is your oxygen. Since you need it, you give it out so people reciprocate all around you. That's why many of these people will find themselves in sales. Okay? If we go to the next one, Jan. S stands for supportive. The supportive type is systematic and they're scheduled and they're structured. They're very sensitive to the pace of their environment. They're sincere. They can be submissive. They can be shy. Very process-oriented people. Now, they can also be a little sloppy. I call them stackers. You go into their office, there's stacks of papers everywhere. And you walk near one of the stacks, right? You just take a step towards it, and you put your arms out like you're about to pick it up or move it in some way. And they say, no, 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 don't touch that. I know exactly what's in that stack. Well, guess what? They don't know what's in that stack. Right? They just have a relationship with that stack. That stack has been there for like a decade. That stack survived the Y2K crisis. That stack is a loyal friend to me. Don't be changing my stacks and my piles. Okay? So they could be a bit sloppy at times. They're process-driven, not detail-driven, and I'll explain the difference between the two. If we can go to the next slide, please, Jan. Great, thanks. And then the last style is the compliant type. These are our critical thinkers, cautious and conservative people. They're correct and accurate and precise. They're quality conscious. They want to get it right the first time or not do it at all. They're data driven. They understand the rules. They like to play by the rules. They want that manual, and they want the information. Okay? So which style are you most like? Are you the D type, the type A personality? Are you the I type, the salesperson type? Are you the S type, which is the more supportive, the team player? Okay? Which one is more like you? Okay? Now, you'll find yourself in this zone, in one of these four quadrants, in one of these four zones. Now the challenge is, and I'm going to get to it in a moment, there is an adversarial relationship with the diagonally opposite quadrant. What I mean by that is the D's and the S's butt heads, the C's and the I's butt heads. And while you have these four elements in your personality, your business has these four elements, and those are going to conflict at times too. So we are going to come back to that and certainly spend some more time on that. Jan, if we may go to the next slide, please. There you go. So there's two questions that you can ask of yourself, or you can ask about anyone else that you are around, and this will help you profile or at least identify 95% of the population. Here are your two questions in order to derive your preferred behavioral style. One, are you more outgoing and faster paced or reserved and slower paced? Which one are you more like? Are you more outgoing and faster paced or reserved and slower paced? And you might be thinking, well, sometimes I'm faster and sometimes I'm slower. Yes, but what would you prefer? If you weren't required to do something, would you tend to be more outgoing and faster paced, or would you prefer to be reserved and slower paced? Now, depending on your answer, we'll put you on one side of the wheel or the other. So if you're outgoing and faster paced, that's D and I. If you're reserved and slower paced, that's C and S. Now we're going to ask the second question, and then we're going to look for the intersection of the two answers. So the second question is, are you more task-oriented or people-oriented? Are you more task-oriented or people-oriented? And if you're more task-oriented, you'd be at the top of the wheel, the C and the D. And if you're more people-oriented, you'll be at the bottom of the wheel, the I and the S, or the S and the I. Take the intersection of the two questions, there's your answer. So in other words, if you say, well, I'm outgoing and faster paced, and I'm task-oriented, that would be which quadrant? If you blinked once because you thought it was D, you would be right. If you're outgoing and faster paced and you're people-oriented, you'd be which quadrant? I. There you go. If you were people-oriented and reserved and slower paced, which one would you be? S. Oh, Jan, way to go. And if you are more task-oriented and reserved, which one would you be? You'd be C. Now, in all the study of behavioral sciences and in personality, there is no correlation between personality and performance. What that means is that any personality can perform as high as they want in whatever they want. It's just a question of commitment. Just a question of commitment. Do you want to do it? Can you engineer it the way you want it to be? And are you willing to do the work that it takes? Are you willing to put forth the effort and employ the attitude to get it done? Okay? Very, very simple, very straightforward. I'm not saying you're going to like everything. I don't like everything that I have to do every day. But am I willing to do it is the question. Okay? Cool. So why don't we go to the next slide, please, Jan? And thank you so much for the arrows. So as a person, where is your hidden value and untapped potential? Okay? So as an individual, the part of you that is D, that is dominant, is the part of you that says, I want results. I don't care, but just give me the bottom line. I don't care how you get here, just get here. Party starts at 1. Bring a dessert. I don't care where you get it. I don't care how you get it. You can bake it. You can pick it up. You're just here at 1 o'clock with a dessert. Right? Have you heard those before? If you're more the relationship, if you're the I part of you is the relationship builder. It's important to you to like who you're around and be liked by who you're around. S is systems and processes. How we get there matters. How we get there matters. These are systems and process people. If they don't know all the steps, they don't want to engage. So I've asked this many times of business owners of all types. I'll ask you now, what is your exit strategy for your business? Or what is the choice plan for your business? Meaning, what choices would you want your business to have 5 years from now? Sell it, strategic partner, acquire, take it public, bring on VC money to go national or take it bigger. What is your exit strategy or evolution plan for your business? Well, if you don't have one, you founders in the D quadrant mostly, you are scaring the bejesus out of your team, and they're mostly in the S quadrant because they think about the exit strategy all day long. Constantly. What's the exit strategy of an employee? Well, the exit strategy of an employee is, when do I get my bonuses? How often am I reviewed and I get my raises? When does my pension come in? When am I fully vested? What are my medical benefits? After 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, what does my retirement package look like? That's the exit strategy for the employee, and they want to know that the owner has thought through their plan so they can hitch their wagon for the next 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 to 25 years to your wagon. And if you don't have one, it makes them nervous, so they start looking around for another one. Now think about this. One last warning, then I'm going to move on. Most founders are in the D and the I quadrant. The founders and first generation owners tend to be D and I. Second and next generation owners tend to be more S and C. Why? Well, the D and the I type, they like to move fast. They like things that are new. They like to start things. They like to start a fire. They like to start a fight, but they don't want to be around to clean it up. The SC type likes to take something that exists and perfect it, make it better, scale it, right? So the DI brings all the ideas and the relationships and the sales in, and then the SC type of your side of your business, that's the part of your business that gets things done, make sure that you keep what you earn, get it right the first time, and put a system in place so it's duplicatable. You know, you could codify it and you could replicate it. Okay? So the rainmaking side is the DI side, but your real business is on the left-hand side. And the people that occupy those spots in your business, those people they do not like uncertainty, and they don't like doubt, and they don't like things that change a lot. Okay? They like things that are steady, Eddie, Freddy. Okay? So that's my warning for you. If you've not sat down and done your exit plan, or at least your 5-year strategic plan, where at the end of that 5 years, there are going to be some choices about your business. How is it going to grow? How is it going to evolve? Where is it headed as an entity? And sit down with your TAB franchisee, or get with your board, and or get with your peer group, whomever your peer group is, and you want to have that plan, and at the next strategic retreat or executive retreat for your business, you want to announce what that plan is. That will stabilize your workforce, and that will give them a lot of peace of mind. Okay? All right, last one, details. If you're the detail person, you're the kind of person who makes sure that all the boxes balance. All the details are in. You're in full compliance. You've dotted all the I's. You've crossed all the T's. Now, the detail people they're the ones that make sure you don't end up in a lawsuit. They're the ones that make sure that you can collect on that contract because it was signed and dated, so now it's enforceable. Right? This is the part of your business that trademarks or copyrights or patents something, so it's protected. They are your insurance policy. Okay? So where is your hidden value? Well, if you say you're a D person, a results person, your untapped potential is in systems and processes. The systems and processes of your life. If you're an I person, you're a relationship person, then the heaven, not the devil, the heaven is in the details. Okay? If you're a system and process person, it's time to think a little bigger. Look over to the D, look at results, the bigger picture. If you're a C person and you're into details, you're probably more into objects than people. Time to work on building those relationships. That's where your hidden value is as a person. Okay? Now, you might be, if you're thinking about this correlation between you and your business, you might be starting to paint the picture here where you're realizing, oh, okay, so the results of my business, the relationships, that's kind of sales and marketing. Systems and processes, those are my operations. Details, okay. That's my finance department. That's my compliance department. You would be correct. You would be correct. All right. So let's go to the next slide, please, Jan. Okay, now, this is what we call the personal discovery wheel. And I wanted to show you this because we basically break take the categories of your life, and we break them into 8 spots. So I know some of the categories are a little tricky to read, so I'll read them off to you. Starting in the top right-hand corner, like a clock, if it were 1 o'clock, we would write, and as I write these out, either just categorize the number in your mind, or make a circle on your page and just replicate this and give yourself a ranking, from 1 being low, 10 being high. By the way, we don't give out zeros. If you even try, you get a point. How about that? How about that for positive reinforcement? Okay, so the first one is career. So to what degree is your career where you thought it would be at this point? You have the level of authority. You've been noted as an expert in your niche. Your business is where you thought it would be at this point in your career. 1 is low, 10 is high. Next one is time maximization. Time maximization, meaning you get things done. When you have, now everybody out there is going to say, well, of course we get things done. That's why we're on this call. You're absolutely right, but only you know how effective you are at making sure that if you set a goal, it happens. Right? So you're on this call, and a year ago you said, I need to lose 10 pounds. You lost 10 pounds. I need to get a few more clients. You got a few more clients. It might not have been pretty, but you got the job done. All right? No goal goes unfinished. All right, you cross the finish line. You make the New Year's resolution, you cross the finish line, and then you help those that say, "Oh, I don't know how to do it." You turn back around and say, "Here's how you get a job done." Okay, only you know that. So rank yourself there. 1 meaning I'm not getting it done. 10 is I get it done. Okay. Next one is personal development. This is the me quadrant. How much time do you spend working on yourself? Personal development, okay, spiritual development, your ability to set aside some me time each week and work on the things that interest you. Not what interests you and your spouse or you and your kids, you personally, okay? 1 is low, 10 is high. Next one, intimate relationships. Think your life partner. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low, 10 being high, where is that relationship? Next one, social and family relationships. These are, if there's a family reunion, if there's a, there's a Facebook page with all of your high school and college buddies on it. To what level are you engaged in social and family relationships? And to what level are you, what degree are you nurturing those relationships? Okay? Next one is health. Okay, now we're at about 8 o'clock on the wheel, just before 9 o'clock. Health is about consistency. It's about doing the things day in, day out that make sure that you have level energy, good sleep, good balance and flexibility. You're doing the things, you're doing your cardio work, 3 times a week, 20 minutes a day. You're going to the gym on regular intervals. You're walking the dog when they need. You're taking the time to do the things every day, taking your vitamins every day or your supplements or whatever to make sure that you are living a balanced, healthy life each day. 1 is no, 10 is ultimate. Okay? Where are you there? Next one is fitness. You say, well, wait a minute, Carl. Health and fitness, aren't they the same? They are vastly different. Remember, for those of you, I was a kid at the time. Those of you, so it was a little ahead of my time, but you guys remember the marathon runner, Jimmy Fox, who he was a marathon runner. He used to proclaim, I can eat whatever I want because I'm a marathon runner. Yeah? How'd he die? Had a heart attack while he was running because he ate milkshakes, drank milkshakes, and ate burgers and fries every day, and and his all of his arteries were unhealthy in his heart. Died of a heart attack in his 50s, I believe. Young man that died. Okay, so he wasn't fit. Fitness is about the numbers. What's your cholesterol? What is your blood pressure? Heart rate. What is your white blood cell count? Your body fat percentages. What are all the numbers? If you went to an executive wellness and fitness evaluation, what would your numbers look like, and how would they compare to the ideal for you at your age and body type and gender and race and all that? If you should be able to do 20 push-ups at this part of your life, can you do them? If you should be able to do 50 sit-ups at this part of your life, can you do them? So fitness is about the numbers. Okay. Last one is finance. We're up at 11 o'clock there. We're around the wheel. Now, finances is just to what degree are you earning the money you thought you would earn? You have the money in the bank that you thought you would have. You've built the assets that you thought you should have as a man or woman of your position at your age. To what degree financially are you where you thought you would be, or at least where you know you should be at this point in your life? Okay? 1 is, good. I wish you wouldn't have asked me that one. 10 is I'm right where I thought I would be, or should be, or I've exceeded it. So you've ranked yourself in these areas. As you look at your scores, you've got your lines all around the wheel. As you look at your scores, if this wheel with your scores were the 4 tires on an automobile, or 2 tires on a bicycle, or 1 tire on your unicycle, how would the ride be for you? Would it be a bit bumpy? Okay? If you're saying, yeah, you know what, that might be a little bit bumpy for me, now you know where you could take some action. Now you know where you could take some action. All right, I hope that was helpful for you. Nice little exercise that you can go through by yourself, with your team, in your board groups. Nice little exercises to kind of take a little inventory of where you're at right now. Okay. All right, if we could go to the next slide, please. Super. All right, cool. So you saw that little wheel with the D and the I and the S and the C, and I told you about the behavior of a business, right? Well, guess what? There is a behavior. There are building blocks to every successful business, right? Now, in the in the individual world, D stood for dominance. Remember that? In the business world, it stands for direction. This is about the big picture growth and execution. Think big, get it done. These are the results. Remember those? In the individual world, I stood for influencer. In the business world, I stands for income, meaning everything that comes in to the business in the form of sales and marketing. And marketing we think of as leads. You're bringing in sales, you're bringing in leads, you're bringing relationships into our business. Okay? F stands for systems. And these are your core operations and your non-core operations. All right, so what's the difference between the two? Okay, think of your business for a moment. Let's say you're a dentist. Well, your core operations as a dentist would be drilling the tooth, putting the braces on, teeth cleaning, hygiene, tooth whitening, pulling a tooth, root canal, right? The things you're licensed for. The non-core operations are everything that surrounds that effort and supports that effort. So, human resources, marketing, billing, okay, sales, ordering, paying the rent, answering the emails, making sure that the alarm system goes on, having the right computer system, technology, making sure you have the right insurances, keeping up on your certifications. That's your non-core operations. Okay, if you're a hotel, the core operation would be we check some, when somebody shows up at the at reception and wants to be checked in. How do we check them in, get them in their room, get them settled, bring them their food, their room service, that sort of thing. Everything else around it. So think about it in this way. Core operations are what I call the yes systems. Non-core operations are called the no systems. So a yes system is, yes, we have a customer today. How do we fulfill the order? Those are your core operations. No is, no, we don't have any customers or orders today, but what still has to be done even though there's no customers today? That's how you separate the two. And then the last building block is controls. This is about finance. This is about intellectual property. These are about the details that matter, that make the big difference in the business. Okay, Jan, if we can go to the next slide, please. All right, so remember, so we'll break them down a little bit more. So direction is strategic planning, vision, mission, vision, values, purpose, business planning, your BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal, exit strategy, or your evolution strategy, growth, maximizing all of your assets. Jan, if we may go to the next slide, please. I stands for income, sales and marketing. Very straightforward. Are we generating the leads? Are we closing them and making them clients or members or patrons? May we go to the next slide, please? Number 3 are your systems. Your yes systems and your no systems. We mentioned that before. Yes, we have a customer. How do we fulfill the order? No customers today, but what needs to be done even though, to prepare for those customers and be ready? Our ordering and our inventory controls and all that other good stuff. And that also includes your team. Now the S is the big in your business, is why you have a business. No F, no business. You are self-employed until you build out this part of your enterprise. Okay? So let's go to the next slide, please. And then the controls. So C stands for controls. Again, it's all the checks and balances that make sure that you get it right the first time and you keep the maximum amount that you make. Right? Okay, so that's finance, IT, information technology, intellectual property, compliance, checks and balances. And may we go to the next slide, please. Here's where your business hidden value and untapped potential is. So let's take a quick loop back to the beginning. Personality of the business mirrors the personality of its owner. So if you are a high D person, a high dominant type person, you're a red person, right? You're a big picture thinker in life. You get things done, right? You think big and get things done. Where do you think your business might be very strong? Probably in growth and maximizing the assets. You're a change agent. You come in, you're like, come on, we're launching that new satellite office. We're not ready. Yes, we are. We'll get ready on the way. Okay, where is your hidden value? Follow the arrow, systems and personnel. Okay? So you might employ the management style that says, hey, you just watch me do this once, and then you guys follow along. You'll watch me. I don't know, okay, you can even record me, then just duplicate what I do. That's not really a process. Okay, since you are so results focused, you sometimes can't see the process. You simply can't see it. You're blind to it. And you say, oh, Carl, I never should have even spent the 40 minutes to hear this. I'll just hire somebody that will handle that. I'll just get someone who's good at that. Yeah? What qualifies you to hire an operations manager? You're blind in that area. So when was the last time you needed visual directions and you sought out a blind man or blind woman to give you those directions? They're blind. They can't see. What qualifies you to hire into your blind spot? It doesn't, and this is one of the biggest mistakes you'll make. And this is why partnerships fail many times, or they struggle. Okay? After a few years, you realize, well, me and my partner don't agree, or, you know what, they might like system and process, but it doesn't mean they're good at it. All right? So be aware of that. If you're a growth and change agent, you like to maximize your assets, look to systems and personnel. There's probably 10 to 30% growth right in that area. If you're a systems person, you're probably so focused on the day in, day out process that you sometimes miss the big picture. Where can this go? When I work with S types, that is one of the first questions they'll ask me. We're doing good on the day-to-day stuff, but I don't know where we're taking this thing. I don't know if the light at the end of the tunnel is either my escape route or is it a train coming my way. I can't tell that far out. Am I going to get run over or am I going to be free at the end of this tunnel? Okay? So again, there's big time untapped potential in that area. Next one is I. So we're still on the same slide, Jen, sorry. Sales and marketing. If you're the I type, guess where your business is going to be strong? Probably in relationship building, sales and marketing. And where will you struggle? Checks and balances. The details. So this is the classic field team arguing with the office staff. Classic. It's gotten so good now, I think it should be a new Broadway play. I think when Jersey Boys is done having its run, we should put the I-C-C-I conflict on Broadway. It's that entertaining. Let me give you a preview of the upcoming Broadway show. Salesperson closes a deal, comes back to the office, proclaims, they closed them. C person, accountant, somebody in bookkeeping comes in and says, wow, that's great. Do you have the contract? And they'll say, they said they're going to mail it in. Oh, really? So it's not really a sale yet until they actually sign the contract, right? Oh, you're bringing me down. I'm not bringing you down. I'm just trying to get you paid. Because without that, we can't enforce the payment schedule. And if I can't enforce the payment schedule, you can't get your commission check. Oh my God, you are such a downer. You're Debbie Downer or David Downer. What are you doing? You're killing my buzz. I just closed this big deal. Well, I don't think you actually did close the deal. I think you have a verbal commitment on a deal. But I'm not trying to bring you down. I'm trying to protect you. Because remember the last disaster? Remember the last whale you reeled into the boat? And you got them into the boat. It almost sank the boat. And then we went to go collect our money from that whale. They hadn't signed and dated the contract. So when they wanted to pull out, we had no recourse. And that's why you lost half your commission last time? You guys want to hear Act 2, or you get it already? Classic. Or let's flip it on its head. Let's go to the C. The C types, your hidden value is your ability and untapped potentials where you can build relationships, sell and market yourself. Okay? So engineers, architects, accountants, financial planners, business brokers, mortgage brokers, financial types, architects. How do they get almost all their business? What are the 3 letters they love most? W-O-M. Oh, word of mouth referrals. Their entire sales system revolves around their sphere of influence. Meaning, who have they touched, who have they built a nice reputation with based on quality, and who refers them. And that's great. Word of mouth is the best type of referral you can get. There's no question. Problem is you don't have enough of them. And the moment competition comes into your neighborhood, or there's a force outside your control that will somehow limit your business, all of a sudden you're wondering why has our work dried up, or why is our sales cycle taking so long? Well, the economy got really bad, or interest rates went up, and so therefore people aren't moving money as much. Or they're not borrowing, or they're not buying, so they're not calling you. And you've been waiting for people to call you. You don't go out and proactively prospect and build your business. And when the economy gets volatile, you have to prospect. The more volatile, the more you prospect. The boom time of 7 years ago is now 7 years ago. That's a long time ago. Okay? So there's your 10 to 30%. May we go to the next slide, please, Jan? Thank you. So you might be thinking, all right, Carl, this sounds good. Let's get a little bit more granular. All right, so what I did was I gave you some examples of what industries would fall in what categories. Okay, now let's start with D. There is no industry specific for a D-type business, because D-type businesses are groundbreaking, huge risk, not high risk, huge risk, intergalactic risk, Virgin Airlines trying to put a rocket in space risk, BP going up to Alaska or somewhere in the ocean, drilling down a mile into the rock, hoping to hit oil. FOMOCO, Ford Motor Company, saying, guess what, folks? Your mode of transportation is no longer the horse. It's going to be this wacky little vehicle we call an automobile. Okay? Twitter saying that you can correspond with whoever you want, just do it in 140 characters. Huh? How many of you that are 40 and over have texted or tweeted ROFL or LOL, rolling on the floor laughing or laughing out loud in the last 30 days? ROFL, could you imagine doing that 10 years ago? I bet, how many of you done it professionally, like to another client or a colleague or a prospect? Probably most of you. I know I have, because it's well accepted. Could you imagine? That's where we're at today. These companies break the mold. They don't always make money, though. So it's not like some badge of honor that we're in the red in the top right-hand corner. Apple broke the mold, Microsoft, BP, Facebook, Twitter, Google, Ford Motor Company, Walmart. They broke the mold. We live every day differently because of these companies. That's what qualifies to get in there. Now, you don't want to stay there forever. I put Apple and Microsoft. They're still innovative companies, but they've probably moved down to the S. If you look at the S, that's where most of the businesses are, because they have systems and they have scale. Well, you want to get your business there because that's where you start making money. But there's some groundbreaking businesses out there, and you may be one of them. One of the people on the call, you may be one of them. Tab certainly was when they started peer-to-peer boards over 30 years ago. They're not there now. They're in the S quadrant because now they can systematize it and everything else. Let's go bottom right. These are the relationship builders. Real estate brokers, advertising, media, marketing, marketing agencies, financial planners. Carl, financial planners? Wait a minute. Isn't that finance? Isn't that high tech? No. Financial planners don't derive the products. They don't manufacture or build or even service the products. What do? Oh, they advise people on their wealth. Yeah, okay, yeah, right. What do they really do? They sell products. They sell financial vehicles, right? Cloak it however you want, package it however you want. At the end of the day, they're salespeople. Multi-level marketing, sales organizations, auto dealerships. Dealerships, they're not Ford Motor Company. That's a sales organization designed just to sell the product. Social media, publishing, retail. Now, retail when it comes to customer facing. There's a part of retail that's all hugely logistical, and it's in the S quadrant. Okay, so you can find where does your business fall. And again, if you have any questions as we go along, please type them in. We'll get to any of the questions that you might have, and we're going to wrap up in just a minute, and we'll have time for questions. Okay. In the S quadrant, here's where most of the businesses lie. Manufacturing, distribution, the military, airlines, government, bookkeeping, not accounting, but bookkeeping, emergency medical services, law enforcement, education, transportation, medical care. Okay? These are all process-driven, the transit system. Okay? These are all process-driven companies. That is their oxygen. Okay, and then the last one, compliant. This is all about the details. Legal, finance, accounting, engineering, architecture, research and development, pharmaceuticals, banking, insurance, IT, and IP. Where do you guys fall? Where does your company fall? Because if you're a C-type company or C-type industry, look to the diagonal opposite, and there's where you'll find where some of your hidden value is. If we may go to the next slide, please. Cool. So this is just what industry are you in? Where would you place yourself? Next slide, please, Jan. Okay, you can see the letters on this a little bit better. We did a wheel for your life. Let's do a quickie wheel for your business. Okay, so those quadrants that we were just talking about, let's do a quick business discovery wheel for your business. Let's start at 1 o'clock. To what degree? So you know the game? 1 is low, 10 is high. Here we go. At 1 o'clock, it says planning. So to what degree are all of your strategic planning documents fully completed and updated monthly? Monthly. Yeah, well, we do it quarterly. That's great. Monthly. Well, we got most of our documents, all of your documents. 1 to 10. Next one. TLE management. Time, lifestyle, enterprise execution. So to what degree is your business affording you the time you need to pursue personal passions? And the lifestyle, it gives you the lifestyle you always thought you would have by being a business owner, and your enterprise is executing just as you thought it would on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is low, 10 is high. Draw the line, put the number, fill it in. Next one, very straightforward, sales. To what degree are you hitting your sales targets? Draw the line, put the number in there, color it in. Next one, we're down to 5 o'clock on the clock now. Marketing. To what degree are you generating enough qualified leads in order to hit your sales targets? Draw the line, put the number, color it in. Next one is human resources. To what degree can you say yes for all 3 questions about all of your employees or team? Yes, all of my employees are right for the company. Yes, all of my employees are right for their job. Yes, all of my employees are prepared and trained for the future. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give your team? Draw the line, put the number, color it in. Next one, operations. To what degree is your enterprise functioning smoothly, like a finely tuned machine? On a scale of 1 to 10. Next one says finance. To what degree are you cash flow positive on a monthly basis, and you have a 6 months cash reserve to weather a storm, and you have enough buying power to take advantage of an opportunity if it were to present itself? On a scale of 1 to 10. Then the last one, it says legal. Very simply, to what degree does your intellectual property, your unique intellectual property, give you a competitive advantage? So when somebody is considering you over another firm, they look at your unique way of doing business or proprietary technology or methodology or products or services, and you say, wow, they're different. I like them. They're unique. I want to work with those guys. On a scale of 1 to 10. Your intellectual property might not be patentable, but it might be marketable. Okay? Draw the line, put the number, color it in. Okay, so that's your wheel, right? That's your wheel. So same question as we asked before. If this wheel were the 4 tires on your automobile or 2 tires on your bicycle or the wheel on your unicycle, how would the ride be? Any area that you scored 7.9 or below, that's an area of susceptibility in your business, and you want to work on that right away. That's an area to start take action on immediately. Okay? Jan, may we go to the next slide. Okay, now okay, so let me just do the exercise and then I'll come back to my comment from before. This is the last exercise, folks. And what we want to see is how tight the controls are in your business. So I believe today is July 10th. Okay, wherever you are in the world, maybe unless you're in Australia, it's July 10th. And if you're in Australia and you're on this call, that's impressive. That is impressive. So if it's July 11th down under. So what I'd like you to do is just take out a pen. As of this moment, or as of close of business last night, I'll give you. What are your sales to the unit of currency? Exactly. What are your sales to this point? No rounding off. Exactly. And if you're not sure, put the range. Oh, I think we're between 1 million and 1.1. 10 million and 10,750,000, somewhere in there. Between 10 and 11. I don't know, between 2 and 3. Whatever the range is. Now we're just going to stick with sales. If you wrote down 1 million and 1.1 million, what's the difference between the two? What percentage difference is it between 1.1 and 1 million? 10%, right? If you said 10 million and 11 million, what's the difference? 10%. If you said 10 million and 13 million, what's the difference? 30%. The range that you put down, now I haven't even done cost of goods, I haven't even done gross profit or net profit margins, and we could do this with every line of your financials and the number would actually expand. But think about sales for a moment. The range that you placed down is more than likely the margin of error that you, or the amount of underperformance that you are allowing in your business. In other words, if you were supposed to do $1 million by this time of the year and you did 1.8 million, what would you do? Would you get excited? Would you bring your team in? Would you throw a party? Would you try to find out what did we do right so we could do it again? Right? What if it came in at 400,000? 600,000 under budget. Some heads would roll, some people would lose their jobs, right? What if you came in right at $1 million? What would you do? Most people answer that they would do nothing. They would do nothing. Okay? What that means is, it took me less than a minute and a half to figure out what will keep you as the owner quiet. In other words, I kind of know your range, and if I keep my performance in that range, you won't make a fuss. You'll just think everything is cool, so you're going to keep doing your day-to-day activities. But if I either way overperform or I way underperform, you're going to come and some heads are going to roll and there's going to be change. Remember earlier I said your team doesn't like change. So they want every day to keep you from changing things. How do they do that? They maintain the status quo. So hopefully you walked out of here with two things. One, what is your range of management and where is your greatest impact in your business? Two, that your team is not necessarily vested in your growth. They are vested in your status quo. Okay, and you got to push a little bit to institute change or growth in your business. Now, we're not going to do all the rest of these, but if I were to ask you, what are your cost of goods right now as a percentage or as a unit of currency? What would the range be? Gross profit margin, what would the range be? Net, what would the range be? Cost of sales, return on assets. I could pick 43 other financial KPIs. Point being is, if your range of mismanagement is 10%, meaning you will allow a 10% deviation, that means I can steal 10% from you and you'd never know it. And if you want to test it out, go research Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Billy Joel or the Beatles or any of these other people that woke up one day and didn't have the money they thought they would have because somebody took it right out from under their nose and they never knew it. Why? Because it was in their blind spot. How many times have you heard about partners where one partner steals from the other or can hide things from the other because they know where the blind spot of the other partner is? Okay? All right, we're at the top of the hour, so we'll wrap things up. If we could go to the next slide, please. I didn't notice any questions, but if there's any questions, I'd be happy to take a question before we go. Jan, were there any questions?
Yeah, we did have one question from Doug. His question was, I'm a high C, but my I is also above the power line. Do I have untapped potential or am I screwed?
Doug, you're screwed. You can't have that. Absolutely not. Okay. So for those of you, if you happen to, what Doug was referring to, above the power line means there's a line from 0 to 100 where anything above 50 is above the power, which means we move towards those behaviors. And that is, it's not rare, but it is less common, right? So if you have somebody who is high C and high I at the same time, one might be a primary behavioral trait in which I would lean towards that. And if this is the Doug I know, then you might be a bit more high C. So there still might be some work to be done in the high I area. If not, though, and you have that much awareness about your own style, I would look to the D or the S. Okay, look, so your hidden value or untapped potential might be in one of the other quadrants. That is possible in a minority of the cases. But no, I'm just kidding. You're not screwed, of course. And the ability to be able to access each of the dimensions of behavior will ultimately help you grow as a leader, grow as a person, and the more you can access as you want those other dimensions, the better. So Doug, you're just a double threat. You're like great on more than one front. How about that?